Okay, let's continue. I know that I go on tangents and talk about stories sometimes, especially about working students that where whose um, writing and experiences have something to do with what we're talking about. Um, but I think in life in general, I try to not try, but one of the things I do is when I think of the personal statement, I try not to think of it just as a personal statement. Like I don't. I try not to think of it just as a piece of writing. I try to think of it as like a vehicle to teach students or show students who they really are, sort of, and what they're really good at or what they really love. Those are three things that I try to bring out in students when in this writing process, and the personal statement's a great vehicle to do that. Like math, I wouldn't know how to do it. Like, all right, here's some shapes. Here's how you find the length and width. I mean, it should be given. Here's how you find the area. Okay, I don't see life lessons in there. Like, I mean, personally speaking, you could, but like, there's these two, so I can't do it. It's hard to imagine. That's why math for me is. But you could. So I mean, there's this rocket and Tesla, SpaceX. NASA never thought about how materials have changed over the years, and certain things are cheaper, and you can make a lighter, better engine for cheaper, and that's what Elon Musk did, and that's what I want to do. I want to figure out. That doesn't sound like you want to figure out physics, but that you want to figure out where there are opportunities, where you can challenge the industry as it is. Boom, there you go. That's how you can use math to ignite people, pun intended. And yeah, so you want to live a life of stories. You don't want to be that student who studied all day and didn't participate in any clubs, any sports, any activities, any life. And that's why extracurricular activities are so important. UCLA wants you to join Unicamp. They want you to make your own club, join something, contribute. Make UCLA a place where you're giving value to the world. And I think ultimately all schools want that. Harvard, Zuckerberg, Gates, they didn't graduate, but I think they certainly have ties, right? And those are the kind of people they want to admit. People that do a couple of things. One is believe. Two is to know, which is the same thing, sort of, and then to also have that idea that can change the world. And the reason why that's really hard to break through is because we live in a system where playing it safe sometimes is preferred. It really depends on your philosophy, but do you fit into the school? And that's the question. Anyways, I'm getting way off tangent now, but you want to be a person of stories. Alright, so here's how you can start some of these essays. Curiosity. A duck's quack doesn't echo. Some people might find a deep and mysterious meaning in this fact. I think my previous example was better. These examples are not that good. If people in China often believe that the number 108 represents a circle, money can increase happiness up to a point. At what point does money not matter significantly more? I think that's a pretty good essay. Okay, the good thing in this is like there's not as good attempts, and there are better attempts, and they're much better attempts. The third one was taken from an article written by Daniel Kahneman, who is a Nobel Prize winning economist. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure he wrote it. It states that after 75,000, I think per household, 75,000 US dollars, money doesn't increase significantly anymore. Wow, that's pretty profound. So it's pretty rare that psychological or economic even science gets into mainstream society. There's a disconnect between academia and practice in real life. So, for example, Dan Pink, Jim Collins. I haven't actually read Good to Great, but Carol Dweck, which is getting farther from business books. But a lot of books are so good, but nobody applies those principles. Like Motivation 2.0 by Dan Pink. I think there's totally a point, but it's like people operate in a different an outdated system in a lot of ways. Like we're still in the industrial age in a lot of ways, even though we're almost past the information age. Actually, the next age, according to Dan Payne, conceptual, and according to my greatest teacher, the human age. So that thing is gonna, but sometimes it's stuck in industrial age, and that's not a good thing. Um, anyway, so yeah, money can increase happiness up to a point, blah, blah. Definition. A homograph is a word with two or more pronunciations. Produce is another example. Wow, got tripped up by the definition itself. That's moderately interesting. That's an example. I don't know where you're going with it, which is kind of an interesting thing if I don't know where you're going with it. But you need to make me want to go with you, okay? Anecdote. Yesterday morning, I watched my older sister left for school with a bright white glob toothpaste gleaming on her chin. I felt no regret at all until she stepped onto the bus. All right, another one. Not not that amazing. So I'm gonna use so anecdote, story. I'll tell you guys about that later. Or dialogue, something like that. Internet device. It's cool. I can like edit inside of this video. Riddles. The more there is, the less you see. If you say my name, there's no more. Who am I? Darkness, silence. Yeah, don't use those. So, there are some, but is it possible for you to use a riddle? It's possible, and also certain schools too, like University of Chicago. They might like that if you can pull it off, but I have not seen too many essays being pulled off with a riddle, like to start. So, as you can see, there's some good ones, some not so good ones, and having a sense of and understanding why that is good. So go ahead and start your introduction however you want. My suggestion is actually to be as free and as lax as possible, and then we can tweak it or work it. And sometimes your hook jumps out from other places. So, what we're talking about, yeah, the introduction and the hook. So here are some examples.